In time. In time. Testing. Testing.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Hello.
Hi, Rebel.
Hi. Morning.
So I saw your tweet, espresso, about the lunar eclipse.
Yes.
Is this going to happen tonight or when is it?
Yeah, so it's, at least for me, European time, it's like in the middle of the night. But
Okay.
I assume that means evening for you, so maybe you have a chance at catching it.
It's cloudy today. But yeah, I check it out later on at what time this will be.
GM friends.
GM.
Hi, Johannes. Hey, Casper.
Hi.
The last time I wasn't able to join you. I'm so happy to be again on the show.
Yeah, so good to have you back.
I also see that Ho and Michelle just joined. So if you guys want to speak, just request, but I don't want to put any pressure on you guys. So, but you are welcome to speak if you want to join the chat. I think it's just like us, so it's a very cozy and safe space. Yeah, I think we can start now. So welcome everyone to the 10th episode of the Angel Swing Weekend Chat. And today is a bit different than our usual features. And but first of all, I would like to welcome Rubble, who has helping us with this whole project more a bit in the background. So it's kind of a first time join as a co-host in this space. So, and Rubble is in real life a founder and also a startup expert. So she's bringing a lot of valuable knowledge and expertise to this venture. And so we are really glad and grateful to have her. Yeah, I mean, everyone been aware of what's going on, not just lately, but in general. So this week, like in the NFT space and also economically, and it's a very difficult time, and with a lot of disappointment for people losing their investment, and so instead our usual features, we thought would just like take a step back and like reflect a bit on how the future of one-on-one art will be in this this situation, and what one-on-one artists can do or to just make the best out of the situation. And so if I think we'll just have like a natural chat. So if anyone wants to like just chime in and tell us about their opinions, and they're always welcome to do that. So it's so first
maybe we could wrap it up. I mean, there were maybe some people living under a rock for 1 week. So we could shortly summarize what happened, because this would explain why everybody has a bad mood, or maybe not.
You're welcome to do that, Johannes. Please summarize.
Yeah. So to summarize, if I'm looking now on my portfolio, it's different compared to last week or 2 weeks ago. Everything went down, and this was first of all caused because Bitcoin went down, Ether went down, and some people say it was because the interest rates were raised, but on the other hand, also other incidents happened. So the Luna Terra ecosystem completely imploded, which means the Luna coin went down, and the pegged UST coin went down too. And this was a disaster for a lot of people, because a lot of them were thinking it's a safe haven because BTC goes down, then I will exit my position and buy some stable coins and wait until everything is over. But this was a big mistake because a lot of people lost basically everything. Whether they had Luna token, which went down to zero, or UST, which has just half its value or lower, depending on where you are trading it. And so a lot of people were in a very bad situation. And of course, if you need cash, then you're also selling NFTs. So also the NFT market went down, very, very much. So I would say the blue chips are down half of their value compared to some weeks ago. And to top everything, then also the Azuki project had a big issue because the founder, it was doxed himself, and he told everybody that he was the leader of some other rug pulls. And this went very bad to the floor price to the Azuki project. I think it was, last time I checked, just 10 ETH floor, which is a dramatic dip for this project. And everybody is unsure what happens now. And a lot of people might have lost their mood to invest in NFTs, Ether, and everything. I think this could sum up the last week, everything red. And of course, this is now the question, how should we continue as a space? And maybe we should start by asking everybody how they feel. I'm feeling good because I know that it's just a dip like every time. I'm so long in the space that I don't care any longer because I'm here for the long term. But if it's the first dip for you, the really first dip, then of course it's a very brutal situation. So let's make a round first, maybe. Once we start, how is your feeling? So I'm confident that it will go up.
Yeah, thank you for this great summary, Johannes. And I agree very much with you. And like for me, I have the similar feelings. And because I'm also here in a long time, so I don't really care whether things are fluctuating or not. And also, I don't really invest in these high speculative tokens. So I think, like, regarding stablecoins, I think like these traditional stablecoins like USDC, they're actually pretty safe, and also they are much more regulated than like these algorithmic stablecoins, so which are more risky in general. And for that's one thing I wanted to ask you is what your opinion like about because like we see what happened to the Azuki project, and I have the feeling that like in general 10K projects tend to be maybe more vulnerable to like market cycle sentiments and compared to one-in-one art. So what is your opinion on that? Because I think like one-in-one art is probably more stable long-term than like 10K projects.
Yeah. I think I mean my perspective will be more from a newcomer to this space. So I only joined Web3 in January, and I think every other week something is happening. So when this depegging happened last week, I saw the chatter on our Discord. I wasn't sure how severe it was because I wasn't invested. But after I learned about the severity, then of course I think, I think for me, my learning and my observation as a relative newcomer is that a lot of negative news, but I also saw a lot of the projects, they came out to say that we are here to stay. And you know, they stake there and put their foot down to say, okay, this is what we're building. And if you're building long term, then you don't have to worry about all these. And it's not very different from, you know, in real life when you look at how businesses are being built. Fundamentals and principles are still the same. things do take time to build, and when you are kind of like hunkering down to build real value, it will take time, and you will have to go through certain cycles. So, I mean, thanks to the community we have in Discord with all of you, I also take comfort and learning together with all of you, and learning from you guys who have been in many more cycles in crypto than me. So I think overall, I think there's reason for comfort and reasons to be positive and to look ahead. On the 1-1 versus like the generative projects, I just feel maybe when people buy 1-1 art, it's really for art appreciation, not so much for speculation or for flipping. So that could explain why 1-on-ones tend to kind of withstand the current market pressure. Yeah. So my thoughts.
Yeah, thank you so much, Raul. I agree very much with your opinion. So what do you actually guys think? Like, I mean, it's like Espresso probably can elaborate what Casper, who has been in the NFT space since like quite a long time. And I mean, how does this bear market like differs from the ones before? I mean, of course, we didn't have a war before, and so it may be different. So do you guys have an opinion on that?
So without going into the gory details of like financial technicals, I think it's very important to know that unfortunately we are also in the backdrop of a pretty unprecedented liquidity draw from the entire system, not just the financial markets, but also in crypto. And if you track the crypto run up in participation in prices of Bitcoin and whatever metrics you want, it pretty much coincides with the Fed just printing money. And that's unfortunately an ominous sign that this time it could be different. I mean, you could think it's FUD, but I think it's worth being very careful before saying things like this is the bottom, following influencers who are out there telling you that this is the bottom and put all your life savings in, which you should never do for any crypto investments. That's my perspective. Be very careful. If you're not monitoring the market 24/7 like I am, I mean, I'm not even 24/7, right? I have to sleep. Just be very careful when you're leaving positions open, investing in tokens that you think are cheap enough. In the next few months, it's not going to end as quickly as many people think. But in the long term, obviously, I definitely agree that crypto is here to stay. I'm still believing in crypto, the NFT market and art market as well. But the reality is that back to the initial question that Yoon was asking about Johannes was asking about how everyone was doing. I'm thankfully doing okay because I have friends in the financial circles who kind of warned me of this impending doom and gloom, right? And I also had seen some of the warning signs of UST and Luna, and I wasn't directly invested in those, but I think all NFT artists have to remember that as frustrated as you are trying to sell your art and no one's buying, you have to realize, like what Johannes is saying, all crypto investors' portfolios are down 50% probably. That's if you're not in stables. And that's also if you're in the right stables, right? So yeah, I think that to answer Yoon's question in a very short sentence is just to be very careful that to project this cycle with the past cycles, because this time around we are in quite an unprecedented financial situation where the Fed is reducing their balance sheet and pulling liquidity from the system. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Casper. That's great. So so I thought about how this actually also like translate to the traditional art market, because like NFT art or the NFT art market is very short, like compared to what we've seen like in the traditional art market, which also of course went through like these up and downs. And And we know that Johannes and his dad Olaf, they've been like in the traditional art market for a long time. So I was wondering whether Johannes can elaborate a bit on how like traditional art is actually coping with these economic downtimes when people probably will spend less on art in general during these times.
I'm not sure. So because if you are using traditional art as an investment, you really have to go to these super high priced art, and we are not at this level. We can live from that, but they don't follow market sentiments if they buy, let's say, middle price ranged art. So I can't speak for that. But of course, if the customer has a few money in his pocket, then it's the last thing he would do is to buy art. First of all, they try to keep the money in their pockets. So yes, you can definitely feel that that if there's a general crisis theme in television and news, then usually everybody holds their money and waits what happens. And then if everybody agrees that we have again the economic goes up, then of course everybody has a mood to buy stuff. It's very often it just happens in your head that you save the money, everybody else is also saving money, and then nothing happens. And I think artists are the persons who feel it very early if the people want to save money. So they are not saving for food as the first thing, but for example, they are not going to any longer to a show or to a theater or buying art. That's the first thing where they are saving their money.
Yes, so yeah, art has certainly always been a luxury product at all times. Espresso wanted to say something. You raised your hand.
Yeah, so I agree with what you all have been saying so far, and yeah, I think this current market conditions will probably mean that things go slower than they have been doing over the last few months. That's not necessarily a bad thing always, because the space moves very fast. But I think, like for the art market, and especially since, as you pointed out, it's a luxury good after all, it will probably be harder to get those sales in. So artists need to be more patient and hopefully not depend on getting regular sales in. Like this is why it's always good to build up a buffer, right, for stormy times like this. And also to add to what Casper pointed out, it's even though we maybe would like to be separate from other market forces like the US Fed raising the interest rates, and other countries will do the same. We aren't that independent yet, so the NFT art market is very tightly linked to the crypto market overall and the overall macro environment. So that also speaks to this being a slower period where there's less sales, but that doesn't mean we need to have less activity, right? So focusing on still sharing and appreciating art is kind of the thing I would focus on.
Yeah, thank you, Espresso. Yeah, this, what you said about sharing and appreciating art. I think this is actually also important, particularly during difficult times, for people to stay hopeful. Like for me as an artist, I feel very lucky that I don't depend on any sales. So like for me, nothing really has changed. So I will just continue doing what I do. And I think like particularly when demand goes down, it's actually more important to focus on developing your skills, and maybe also reduce the amount of drops and rather focus on quality instead of quantity. Yeah, and I think this is like the best that artists can do, and I think we are all here actually to help with the situation, helping artists to just make the best out of the situation.
Maybe I can add on this, and then of course Rebel wanted to give a point too. So yeah, you made a good point. It's I think it's important to realize if you are dependent from the art sales for your daily living, then of course it's a very uncomfortable situation. In my case, that's not an issue because I have a daylight job, and here I'm feeling even a little bit better than before because 1 month or 2 months before, everybody was excited, everything was dropping. I was just clicking on pre-mint links all the time, trying to catch up with the market, and then also trying to build something on top of that. And I had a little bit the feeling that it was very much for me, and that that wouldn't say that I'm going to burn out, but that I somehow lost a little bit focus because I was trying to do everything at once. And now, since everything is a little bit calmer, I can finally focus on building things. So now nobody will pressure me to nobody would expect that I'm going to sell anything. So now I can concentrate on building and preparing stuff. And hopefully next cycle NFTs are again a big thing. And then I'm ready with stuff that I have created in the meantime. So I'm feeling a lot of relax there because now it's the time to build stuff.
That's a great point. Just using the bear market for building and focusing. We've been chatting about this before, so I totally agree with on that point. Just Casper has something to say. Please go ahead.
No, I think actually Rebel was ahead of me. Rebel, you want to go ahead first?
Yeah, we have a queue. No, I just wanted to, in fact, that's what I wanted to say also. I think right now in this moment, it's quite important for both collectors and maybe artists to focus on the why. Like why are we here and why are we creating art or why are we collecting art? So I thought that, the artists, in the first place, I think one-on-one digital art really makes art very accessible for collectors, unlike traditional art where it is not just price but also space. So I think for collectors, it's really important to kind of like support the artists that we want to see continue to thrive. And right now, even with the prices going down, it's an even better time to pick up the pieces from the artists that we are following. And then for artists, I think it's a good time to kind of define the style. And because I think each artist would probably have your own followers, and it's a good time to define your art style. And like Yoon said, focus on quality. And then your followers who like your style will always be following you as well. So I feel that just clearing out the noise and focusing on the whys will kind of make it, it will be more clearer and it will help to navigate because our theme is, the stormy seas, right? So I think it will help to navigate. And also I think being around with a supportive community. So for me, I would have been pretty lost if not for the Angels Wing Discord, where there's a lot of info and a lot of sharing being done. So I'm really grateful to be in this community. Yeah, over to Casper.
Yeah, so I just wanted to add on to what Yoon was saying about focusing on quality, which I totally agree with. And as a collector, I would definitely appreciate artists continuing their improvement in their artwork. But I'll just like to throw this out there that I think there are other ways. There are other interesting ways, especially for artists who do depend on selling their art for a living. I have noticed two things. One is there are some artists who are focusing a lot more on their affordable collections. I don't think it's bad to mention names, right? Like Palette Box for her Funky Cats. I feel like she's been releasing a lot more these few days or even the past week. And my personal view is that if you haven't, as an artist, explored creating a more affordable version of your art, maybe it's time you do. I mean, especially if it's something where it just helps to create that momentum and get you through these tough times. Why not explore something like that? I've also noticed other more interesting ways of maybe keeping collectors engaged, because as you know, as collectors' portfolios drop, the number of collectors who are actually willing to stump up crypto to buy art reduces dramatically. So you have to try to keep yourself on provide even more value, right? So I see airdrops as something that, I mean, even Yoon has done, right? Airdropping art to collectors. Obviously, you have to explore chains that are a lot more gas efficient, like the Polygon chain. But yeah, just wanted to say it's not all. It's really gloomy, but it's not all doom and gloom, right? You just have to find a lot more creative ways of trying to get your art sold, and maybe just keep that momentum going, so you don't feel that all hope is lost. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Casper, for this very interesting point that artists should consider focusing on affordable collections during these times. Espresso just raised his hands. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so I agree with that. And I think this is a good opportunity to kind of get used to the swings in this space. Like crypto is like this. It swings a lot, and one week it's euphoria, and the next week it's doom and gloom. And there's kind of looking ahead. I do see a lot of similarities to the ICO boom in 2017, 2018, with back then.
Don't remember me.
Okay, I'll keep it short. So basically, that was a time of projects getting funding just for writing a white paper. So that was it. And there's a lot of kind of similarity to how NFT projects, not art, but NFT projects, have had very easy access to funding these last few months. And that is for sure going to be affected going forward. It will be a lot more work for NFT projects to get funding. And that's probably a good thing. Like we all remember the Pixelmon fiasco, right? Which really exemplified getting money thrown after you for nothing. So just wanted to point out that these swings are normal, and there will be an upswing again. But getting used to these waves is a good thing. And yeah, unfortunately, as also Casper pointed out, I think is that some people choose to leave the space in these periods and then come back later when it's the arrows are pointing up to the right again. And that's also just a fact that we need to deal with. So yeah, just wanted to point that out. And I think it's overall, if you know the saying, all you need to succeed in crypto is to survive it, and that's what I'm trying to communicate here.
So I really hope that it's not comparable to the ICO crazy times, because everything I have invested in that time is down and is still down, and it will never come back. I think ICO crazy time was really the worst, because nothing went up for me. Then we had the DeFi time, the central finance projects popping up here and there. You had have had, of course, Uniswap, which was really a game changer, but all the other swap pages came after that, or launch pads. Every second week, a new launch pad and a new coin or token to build something. And of course, yeah, just writing white papers again. But at least this time, if I'm now looking on my portfolio, the ONI token has still some value. Also, the other more major projects are still there. So this gives me hope. And if we now see this cycle as the NFT crazy time cycle, then there might be hope that even more projects are going to hold some value. Because yes, the last cycles were really, really bad because nothing really made it up again. I hope that this time a lot of people have doxed project members, and you really know where the money went to. There could be a chance that some NFT projects recover, even if they are down very bad, because you know the people, and at least they promise to deliver something. And I think if now we have their names, so if they are not going to do what they promised, maybe we can force them to do it. That would be my hope. So every cycle, the market is getting a little bit more major. And yeah, so at least in this cycle, we had doxed teams, which is new. In the past, everything was just 100% anonymous.
Yeah, it's actually a good thing. Like with these cycles, like we also see a market maturation and noise gets filtered out. So it's not always a bad thing. So yeah, let's try to stay optimistic. We have two more speakers. Zaki, you're welcome to speak first.
Okay. Hello. Hi.
Hi.
Thank you so much. Hi. Thank you so much for having me. I at some point I wasn't sure how I got here. I had actually set reminder for this room. I think I found it in the Meta Angels Discord, but I'm not. If you don't mind, like I'm not sure it's related. And I mean I see there are angels in the in the picture there, but I'm not. I would love to know how what exactly this room, and if I can ask a question, because first of all, I'm so grateful I got here. I was everything I heard was exactly what I needed to hear and what I was looking for, and so first, yeah, I would like to ask, like, what is this place? I wasn't sure, to raise my hand for that, but I'm like, okay, I have, either I crashed the party or it's okay, so what's happening, and then if I can ask you a question, it would be great along all the things that you spoke.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for just joining. We're so happy to have you here. And you're so welcome to just jump into our space. So we are a bit related to the Meta Angels. So we are a group of people, artists and collectors, and we mainly met through the Meta Angels community. And we are a virtual 3D gallery. And the project originally started from Casper, who initiated this whole project. He bought a virtual gallery on Cyber, and he reached out to independent artists to showcase their artwork in the gallery, just because he saw like there is so much talent out there, and it's very hard for people to get visibility, and also for newer artists just to figure out how things works in the NFT space. And so with time, we just kind of became like a team, and we're featuring artists, helping them how to navigate the NFT space as a one-on-one artist. And we do these weekly Twitter spaces. Yeah. So initially, Casper curated this really impressive wall in his virtual gallery of Meta Angel pieces, because we are all Meta Angel holders, and they are like, Casper, can you elaborate? I mean, how many angels did you create on that wall? I mean, it's really impressive, and 15 pieces or even more.
Yeah, I think it was 8 on each side plus 1 in the center, and then we had yours welcoming. So it was like 18 maybe. We had 18,
Oh.
17 on the wall, and yours on top of the sign, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that was the idea how you came up with the name Angel Swing, right? Because we had this really nice wall of angels. Just trying to answer the question.
To be very accurate, why the angel's wing stuck was I started the gallery with one which had two wings, so the east wing and the west wing, and because the number of artists was slowly growing, I had to make one wing priority for Meta Angel holders, and that was the west wing. And that's why I called it the Angels Wing, thinking that, oh, I'll just have one wing dedicated to Meta Angels, independent artists. But then, obviously, because of the incredible support that I've gotten from this group of people, that wing totally overflowed and took over my entire gallery. I mean, it's a great thing, don't get me wrong, but the origins of how this started as the Angels Wing is because the West Wing was supposed to be the only wing that had Meta Angels art, but now it's just the whole gallery. So, and we're very happy to have artists who are outside of the Metal Angels community as well, because that's who the Metal Angels project represents, right? Inclusiveness, kind of like diversity, and like Yoon said, we just really want to support independent artists out there who really struggle to get visibility over the 10K PFP art projects, because I know it's not easy not having a full marketing team behind you, sometimes not even knowing how to mint your project. So I think increasingly, again, thanks to the contributions of all the members here, we are just growing not just from a virtual gallery, but we're growing the community as well. So you're very welcome to join our Discord and find like how we're really just a very small, cozy, authentic bunch. Like we don't talk about floor price, we don't talk about like when Bitcoin price is going to moon in the next 7 days, and which coin to buy to make your next housing deposit, right? I mean, we're just a very cool bunch of people that share weird stuff in the Discord. So just hop on and join us and find out. And if you have art, I think you're Saki, you're an indie artist as well. Yeah,
Yes.
we'd be happy to focus to feature your art one day as well.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Actually, I have a loaned angel. That's how I'm at the Meta Angels. But yes, I also have art that I think this is how I found you. And I know there is also someone else want to speak. But I just wanted to ask something because it was related to the things that you said. I also felt that now like editions is a way to go to make it more affordable. I totally understand if someone wants to keep their prices and wait for the right buyer. I totally understand that, but I really want to be more active in the buying and selling because I really want to support other people's art. So, and I'll be able to do that when I sell my art at this point. So I'd rather change hands and and support each other than just sit here sticking to a price that whenever it's gonna fall. So my question to you would be, is because I also hear that if it's editions, then it's like less valuable, right? And like the whole thing with NFT is that if you only have one. So one small question is it better to have one nice piece and have editions of it, or it's better to have like one-on-ones but with small variations? That's like one thing. And then is there a number that it's still editions and it still kind of sounds valuable? Like if I would do 100 pieces, I feel it's a little too much, especially for someone starting. And also I want to give a variety, but if I give too many, then it's hard for me to sell my collection, right? That's like another thing. Now you need to sell the collection, even if it's like from few pieces. So if you have any advice on that, I would appreciate it. And
I think my answer would be it really depends on the collector. So I think this is a very good chance to jump to Shrump now, because he's one of our super collectors in our gallery. Shrump, you want to answer the question?
I mean, as far as collections, I guess it depends on the price. Like if you're gonna have like a lower price and do like a set of 30 or something, I mean, a lot of people will be kind of interested at that, especially to get like new collectors. But like if you're gonna have like a one of one, yeah, I mean it might be okay to like sit on the price for a while. But I mean, as far as like what I wanted to talk about like right now is like this is like an actual incredible opportunity if you're like a collector or like an investor. Like when like Warren Buffett says like be greedy when others are fearful and fearful when others are greedy. Like right now a lot of stuff is dropping into people's price range because not just the NFT prices are going down, but Ethereum is much more affordable to get. So like if you have a bucket list of stuff you want to collect, like this is when you probably should be checking off like the things that you didn't think you were going to have an opportunity for. And like, you know, support the artists while they're like struggling a little bit, just because like if you are like not over leveraged and have some like funds on the side, like this is exactly when the opportunities.
So, as in, or if you're not an investor, maybe it's also a good advice to just dollar cost average into Ether or Bitcoin and wait until it goes up again. Then, because it's a big question is if the NFT is also going to be cheaper now, because as we have already realized, if it's a 10K project with a lot of liquidity, then of course maybe the price goes down. For example, Bored Ape Yacht Club goes down. Everything else which is having a lot of liquidity and volume, here you can really read the charts. But for this one-of-one art, I think the price will stay like before because, yeah, honestly, there are not so many buyers. So maybe it's a good idea to just buy here stake into Ether and see if there's an NFT project with volume where you have it on your list. But I think for the one-of-one, I checked some artists' collections before. They, at least it looks like for me that they are continuing to sell for the same price like before.
You can get some deals on secondary though, like things that you didn't expect to become available ever for one.
Yeah, for the volumes, for the project with volume, right? Or did you really find? I know, you're right. You found that magnetic image which was going down, right?
Well, it was the patron saint. Like I didn't expect to get that down.
I know, of course.
Those for like 4 ETH.
It was the Sarana, yes.
Liquidity.
Excuse me. So for the listener,
PFP projects, like it's a good opportunity to buy, but like only if you're like emotionally prepared for it to go down more. Like if you're gonna buy something and you're gonna freak out if it halves in price, this is not the time to buy. But if you're willing to like wait it out, it's an excellent time to buy.
Yeah, I agree. You have bought the Sarana piece, right? This was a piece with one patron, which was listed for 0.06 or 0.6, which was very cheap for her art, right?
Yeah, it was a good deal there.
You made a good deal. Yeah, perfect deal.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get
You're right, but I would say,
but we'll see if that slows down enough for me to beat the whales.
But I think Sarana is also one of the artists where I would say she has already some volume. There's always somebody watching on the Meta Angels Discord for our next piece.
I just want to quickly add something to what Saki was asking before we move on to Espresso and Casper. So I think when you're starting out, there's certainly no just one way of doing things. And if you think like, look at certain artists, like what works for them doesn't need to be working for you. And you have to figure out your own way of doing things. And which is actually good, I think, because if you have to find your own unique way to do things. But coming back to your question, when you're starting out, it's actually good to start with a smaller collection because, as you said, you want to sell things, right? And so you have to see how demand is for your art before like expanding your collection. And also the same thing with editions. Like me personally, I prefer one-in-one art, so like single editions instead of just my personal preference. But I mean, there are lots of collectors who are like also preferring like editions. But I think with when you see like your audience starting to grow, you may certainly also explore this area. But I think like with starting with a smaller collection, price at affordable price would probably the way to go. And then if you see your audience growing, then you can explore also other options like making editions, for instance. Casper or Espresso, do you guys want to add something or continue with what you had in mind before?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to answer Saki's question directly because she asked about the editions versus one art. Like I said, I really think, like Yoon said, it's very unique to each individual collector. But for me, I definitely also prefer buying. So between a one that's really affordable versus editions, I would still go for the one because to me, I just want to collect something that's unique. But that's just my one single collector's perspective. That's all I wanted to add.
Yeah, I think everyone will appreciate is scarcity in the end. If you focus on scarcity and quality at the same time, I think you are probably good to go.
And I want to just to clarify what I totally understand the thing about editions and one-on-one, but like when I do my art, I take a lot of shots, and there's usually one shot that I find it better. So I thought either making that editions or then sometimes I see like the same art, they change the colors slightly, or they change the cropping slightly, or they change something slightly, and then they're making like more one-on-ones of that one thing. Or let's say if you took a photograph or something, and I can take a photograph of it of a couple of different angles and then create more editions that way. But to me, this is actually one piece. So this is the thing I was also asking about. If you, I totally understand the scarcity, but sometimes it doesn't look scarce. It just looks like someone just created more one-on-ones of the same thing. To me, but I don't know if that's how other people see it. That's what I was.
I can totally. Yeah, I totally know what you mean.
About that I'm asking.
I think if like. It really depends on how different these pieces are from each other, and I mean if they're like, let's say 100 pieces of very similar pieces, I think like for me the value goes down. It's just also like
I'm thinking 30 the most. I'm thinking 30 the most, to be honest. Just
I mean, you're welcome to join our Discord, and you're welcome to share your pieces with us, and we're happy to give you feedback on that. How about that?
I would love to do that. That would be amazing. Thank you so much. How do I find your Discord?
If you go on, did you just follow Angel's Wing, our main account here that I'm hosting through? Then you can just go on
I'll find
Linktree, and then there's a link to Discord.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're
also,
welcome.
Everything you said before, I'm also glad to know that not everybody's here for flipping or for investing. I feel sometimes I have not invested in crypto yet, and sometimes I feel like I'm missing something, or it's everything is so overwhelming. So I'm just really grateful to see that there are also other people that's not what they're here to do. And I think that builds a better common ground for more things to happen. I mean, I would love also to invest in crypto, just can't do it all at the same time. And I appreciate being here. Thank you so much for letting me speak to you. Thank you. And I'll come to the Discord.
Thank you. We're so happy to have you here. So should we still go on a bit for the discussion, or should we start to wrap this up? What do you guys think? We're already approaching an hour. Anyone wants to add something?
No, I was just wondering whether does anybody else have any other things that they have noticed in the one market that could potentially help artists navigate this space. Like I mentioned, maybe exploring the different, more affordable collection. Are there any other unique ways that you guys have seen?
I did notice some pricing strategies. So how artists would kind of upfront say, okay, this is going to be increasing in price in the coming edition. So currently this is the price of this collection, but in the next 2 or 3 collections, the price will be increasing. So it kind of gives the current buyer a sense that the price that I'm buying now is a good price. It's I'm not going to be undercut by the artist himself. So that's something that I've noticed, where the artist is trying to make the art more accessible, but not going out at a flat low price. It's kind of like tiered and released in phases. That's one of my observations. Espresso?
Yeah, so I just wanted to add, I also see that artists that build out kind of a bigger portfolio with more accessible works also commonly explore different platforms. So a typical example is if people or artists have started on Foundation, typically you have to price fairly high on Foundation because of the fees and everything. And then exploring adding a new collection on OpenSea or one of the other marketplaces. And even some artists have work on Tezos as well, which is usually like 10 times cheaper than on OpenSea again. That's also a way of differentiating and making the art more accessible to more collectors, which can also be an idea to explore if possible. But as Saki mentioned, when doing photographs, of course, there is a lot of work that goes into each piece, I would assume, and it's not necessarily easy to just swap the color scheme and then make another piece. So price definitely corresponds to kind of effort put in a way. So not 100%, but I don't want to kind of pressure artists to price it lower than they are comfortable with just because of market conditions, because if you think there's a reasonable price based on the effort, then price it at that level, and then it might just take longer to sell, but don't necessarily compromise just because the rest of crypto is down.
So at least from my observation, I have realized that sometimes I wanted to have a piece, but it's hard to follow every artist, because, for example, the Jagnetic piece, I was aware of that piece. Then I have forgotten it because other stuff happened, and then I just bought it during the space, and I was wondering why nobody had catch it up, because usually all the other buyers are very fast. Or for example, also for June's last piece with the moon, this was one of the pieces where I thought, maybe I should also get that, but of course Hal was faster. And
oh my god, I want to say I'm so sorry. I didn't really thought this would happen. I was just like last night was scared to go. I said I would just miss it, and then I would announce it and write a thread about it. So I'm so sorry.
Yes, maybe. So, but my point was, for the artist, it's hard to make some to promote it, because so much stuff happens on Twitter. Everybody is just minting all the time, and it's just one little tweet in thousands of tweets. And on the other hand, for the collector, it's also hard, because I forget things because I haven't wrote it on a piece of paper. So we had this discussion some hours before. Maybe we should try to find ways to bring collector and artists together. For example, one easy way would be to say, I'm always just minting on a Monday. So then you can make a red cross on your calendar, or you can say, I will always put out a notice 24 hours before I'm making the mint. So then everybody has a chance to look on the art. And for example, in your situation, you could have create the art, put it on OpenSea, inform everybody, and say, next day I will list it for sale. So maybe we should together explore some ways to make some more to give the collectors a chance to remember that stuff, and also maybe to so that was a little bit hard. But I think, for example, your HAL your piece you have created last, I think this was a little bit underpriced, because if you would know that on Twitter people say, oh, in 24 hours I can finally buy it, then you could see, this seems to have a little bit more demand. Then you could maybe even higher the price a little bit. So a lot of factors are here to consider. First of all, it's hard to track everything. And the other thing, in my impression, this piece that you created was undervalued. So it could have been possible to sell it for a higher price, if you ask me. So we have to learn a lot, and maybe we should start with a second channel where every artist of the Angel's Wings is promoting his art, and we maybe have something like agreement that we don't hurry it. This is something I like about the Meta Angels Discord. You have always time to decide. It's not now I have to buy. Usually they promote something, and then you have 48 hours to decide. Maybe we could do something similar. I created this piece. You can see it here on whatever OpenSea, and I will sell it in exactly 48 hours or something. I think this could be a thing we should explore.
Actually, also pretty much like the option of listing private sales. So if you post like a piece that someone likes, then the collector can reach out to the artist and then just save that piece, reserve that piece, and then the collector can just collect it whenever gas is low and don't need to rush into things, I think that's something would be also a nice thing to consider. Saki, you want to say something? Saw you raise your hand.
Yeah. Hi. So there is, to your question, there is another thing that I saw that I thought it's interesting. It feels like dating, this collector and artist thing, trying to matchmake them. It's like really. So I saw someone, he had a free mint. And he called, and then that was like his family. And after the free mint, I saw he was selling something, and he had different price for the family and different price. So he had like really low for the family. He had a 0.02 for the family and 0.03, and it's additions. Okay, so it's already kind of affordable. But he had like the free mint, and then also different price for the family. I think that definitely attracts like young collectors, like but I think you're in the family, so then you also have access. I'm sure he has a Discord and the whole thing. So I'm also thinking at some point, for maybe a good project to do a free mint. I think free mints are interesting. I know there is another guy, he wants to do a big project, everything free mint. And his idea is also that people will actually have that on their gallery, and he's trying to find a way that if it's airdrop, to make sure it's not in the hidden NFTs, because this is how he wants to like other people get to know about it, that it will show up in other people's galleries. But I have a problem with that, because this particular art is beautiful by being very ugly, and I would not want something like that on my wall. That's my personal preference. It's very well made, it's just not positive. That's what I'm saying. Anyway, so that's what I want to say.
Yeah, thank you so much for your input. I think this is actually a great way to go. Just have like a special prize for your own community and compared to everyone else. I think that's a great way to explore more in general. So before we close this episode, anyone else want to share our opinion? If not,
just wanted to chime in real quick. Since we are on the topic of helping artists navigate this space creatively, one of our artists in the Discord as well, Aryan, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name right. He actually gives a commercial license for his art. If you collect it, he makes it very explicit that if you buy his art, you're allowed to print and sell it for profit. So I think that's another way of, differentiating your art if you think it's worth your while. So just adding it out there.
Yeah, that's a good point, because usually you are just allowed to look on it. And for example, if you're a photographer and you would say, yes, if you buy my NFT, you can use it, for example, to print it in a magazine or something. I'm buying a lot of images from these royalty-free websites in the 10 euro to whatever 50 euro range. So at least I think for photography, it would be a big added value if you say the owner of my NFT is allowed to do whatever he wants, like the royalty-free portals. And maybe this is also possible for other types of NFTs. For example, music. If you are buying my music, you can add it into your game or so. You're right. This is something we should explore. Maybe this could also work for art. If you are buying my piece, you are allowed to print it put it on a wall in your impressive office, whatever. So yes, that's a very good point. It's totally unclear for most of the NFTs what you are allowed and what you're not allowed. Good point.
Thank you so much, Johannes. So to summarize our episode, as we heard from Rebels, things takes time to build, and as always in life, things go through cycles, and it's just important to just stay with it. And we heard from Casper that it's the way you go about is just to never put more into what you can't afford to lose. I think that's a good advice. And we, as the Angel Swing community, we love art. We believe in the future one-on-one art, and so we are here to stay for the long term, to support artists. And for one-on-one artists, something to explore during these times is try to maybe experiment with things like affordable collections, as Casper mentioned, or as we just heard from Johannes, even explore the options to create something like a royalty-free NFT art. Keep collectors engaged during these times, and I think it's also important to focus on yourself, on your personal health, mental health, and just believe that things will just somehow work out. I think in most of times it does, and don't hurry things, and just take your time to decide. Okay, thank you so much, everyone who joined and spoke today. I think we had a great episode, and have a great Sunday, everyone. And looking forward to next week's episode. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. See you next week.
See you in Discord.